Let's do this. Hello, everybody. It's Spence. It's Friday. I can't believe it's Friday, April 19th, 2024. Welcome to another Friday. I have my hat head on because I was out. Let me check my sound. Yes, I am good. I'm getting this worked out. Also, I want to fix something I've done with this browser tab. Hold on. Need to make it fit. Look at that bad boy. I got my techniques down. Today, I am going to talk about a topic that is near and dear to my heart, and I'm going to weave it together. Hello, everybody who's coming in. With some topical conversations that I had this morning. I have a lot of you who over the years have been clients, friends, students, and so forth. But this has been a really interesting week, and it ties in with this whole WordPress minimalist idea because I've also got some promised announcements. So if you are here, just say hi in the chat. Hi, it's Spence. I want to make sure that I know you're here. And if you have some things to say, I always like to put it up on the screen like this. Okay. All right. Where do I begin? First of all, I want to say happy spring. There's Anne. She's always reliably here. Good morning. I want to say, let's use a metaphor. Let's use a metaphor of the rites of spring, the passage of spring into the possibilities of a new year. Good morning, Randy. We are in an amazing place in time and history that I'm metaphorically going to compare to the springtime, because out my door today, it is a little chilly, but it's amazingly sunny and bright, and everything looks and feels different. It's much clearer when you wake up to that and you can start your day with whatever you like to do, your coffee, your walk, your stretch, your conversation, your thought. I got all of those in today, including a really intelligent conversation with somebody who used to work with me here, Beth, who's in the same space at WordPress. When we look at the world as it is, all of us, especially those of us who are in my audience who tend to be Gen X and older, it could be looked at as a snow globe that's shaken up. Or like we've come from the winter and it's now the spring. There is a much different place and a space than there was a couple months ago or a year ago or 2 years ago, and definitely much different than we grew up at. And all of those things that keep changing create opportunity, the promise of what is to come. And for those people who are prepared for it, those people who are entrepreneurial, like I spoke about last week, versus employees, those who are proactively willing to say, I enjoy the snow globe being shaken up because everything is going to land in a new spot and I have just as good of a chance as the next person or the next company or the next thing to succeed in this new arrangement, versus if everything had been historically static, like it was. Think about the world in the 2000s, the 2010s, 2020s. Like things change. Good morning, Chris. Things change so quickly, but the gatekeepers are gone. The gatekeepers are gone. So I'm trying to tie and weave the story together. When the spring comes, last season is over. The winter is maybe hopefully gone. The promise of what is to be, both in business. And I got to do this now. I love this little icon, but I'm wondering my thumb has to be in the right spot. The promise of what is to be, both in business, society, weather. We got the world global changing. Older generation above us, the boomers, and the younger generation below us, how people interact. I mean, there's all these kind of factors that are going to make the future for us, human beings, spiritual beings having a human existence, open to shaking up this globe and having a new opportunity. And so now let's bring it into the WordPress space. Here's where I'm bringing it down to earth. Over the last 20 years, I have experienced and enjoyed seeing WordPress grow from a hobby in a world where nobody did business online and social networking didn't even exist, into running 45% of the internet and being known as pretty much the #1 CMS. But in the process, Matt Mullenweg and the rest of the people who are involved, who are all friends and colleagues that I find this remarkable. Like on a first name basis, I could just reach out and talk to about whatever. we find ourselves in a world where business and big money and corporate interests and the difference between human relationships and impersonal relationships have made themselves known. And what that means is for all of us who make a living in one way or another through the use of what WordPress can offer, we have to choose to a certain degree how we want to behave after the snow settles in the snow globe, after the sun comes up in the spring. We have to decide how we want to be in a world where, as incredible as it is, one individual, you or I, have the power of 15 AI robots or chatbots or other things at our disposal instead of hiring 15 people. And my answer is always less is more, simpler, minimalism. I have found, having been in all these different decades and eras before and after technology kicked in, but now especially so, that when everybody is going one way, you've got to go the other way. When the powers that be are trying to take what was promised as a simpler, easier, faster, cheaper relationship-based business, and they're crushing people's souls with it. Like, stupid example this week. I don't know if you guys use Netflix. My mom, who's 80, uses Netflix. I set it up for her on a Roku TV that has this very simple remote control. I've given examples. My mom holds the remote control like this. She puts her hand over the front and then calls me, and she can't hear very well. She wears hearing aids. She can't figure out why her TV doesn't work. Well, Netflix thought in its infinite wisdom, after all the years and promises, that they have a reason to crush people's souls by saying the family group or whatever, I'm going to turn this thing off. The family group or whatever it is that you pay for is no longer 4 TVs or 6 TVs. It's Wi-Fi network ID based, which means that the Netflix I set up for my mom and the account that I maintain for her, if I use it in my house, it shuts off her Netflix TV. And so what happens is the ability for this corporate entity that has control to take and mutate the promise of the simplicity and the human relationship and it's amazing. It's everything you need for free with one subscription on Netflix is now just a button away, and turn it into, I spent 2 hours pulling out what hair I have left, screaming over the phone at my deaf mother, literally deaf, while she continued to try to point her phone at the ceiling, at the floor, at her forehead to show me what was on the screen, what's wrong with Netflix. And ultimately, the only solution was I had to have her get one of her hearing friends come over, and then me walking an 83-year-old through how to reconfigure Netflix into being the primary network TV. Okay, why am I saying all this? So back to minimalism. With WordPress minimalism, we are seeing the same forces at work. For the first 20 years, WordPress was just a bunch of plugins and some simple stuff that worked in a way that all of us knew the basic, like chop down the tree skills, how to do some HTML and CSS and PHP. And then it became the page builders, which made things much, much, much easier, but at a cost. Many of the legacy page builders like Divi came at the promise, but it's arrived of one day you're going to pay the price for all these crazy proprietary shortcodes instead of regular HTML markup. That's moved on to Gutenberg. But now the lunatics have taken over the hospital because the core of WordPress on a daily, hourly, minute-by-minute basis is being run by people that have not been here for 20 years and who just are thinking in terms of their latest, greatest toy and how they can further aggravate the lack of human relationships. Like, for example, every single person who makes something now in core or WordPress is thinking, how can I take a person from installing a plugin from the plugin place to a special wizard that I own, I control, that gives, me money? So now you've got essentially like a movie theater where every single person is trying to run a business from their seat, or like Windows 95. When Windows first came out and you paid a license for the software and the home screen had 2,000 icons of paid viral software that essentially absconded your attention, your money, everything else. The complexity, the insanity, oh my God, have we lost our way about there's human beings who are not necessarily wanting to make technical things their primary purpose here. They're business owners, they're entrepreneurs. There's a charitable cause who just, I need an online presence to sell what I sell, offer what I offer, have a way to communicate with prospective human beings. And this software that had so many great, amazing, simple things has not only become 70, 80,000 random choices, but now everybody is trying to compete against a couple big, what I'm going to call bad actors, who are trying to say, well, we've got the leverage. You can't do anything about it. Like Netflix customer, we're going to change the relationship midstream. And as soon as we get our hooks into this, everything is going to be the way we want it. By the way, you can look at the same thing happening when you look at Google and SEO. I'm going to talk about the specifics of the minimalism, but like when you look at Google and SEO, everybody was sold the bullshit story. And it wasn't bullshit for maybe the first, second, third, fourth years, but the bullshit story that if you just follow what everything, all the algorithm rules are that Google tells you, even when they keep changing it every 3 months or 6 months, that you'll be fine. Your website will get ranked. You'll make all the traffic you want organically. Lies, 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 lies. Because the algorithms kept changing without telling anybody, while Google continued to take all the data from your visitors of who specifically they are and directly advertising to them. And it turned it into the mess it is today, which is now that AI is out and people can see the search results, Google shit its pants and changed the algorithm. They changed their Google Analytics plugin tool itself to make it obvious to anybody who is conscious that unless you are paying them thousands of dollars in ads, you are not going to ever be ranked organically. Never, never, never. And some companies this last 2 months that had been like hundreds of thousands of organic visitors disappeared, like off the radar, gone, disappeared, like unplugged for no good reason. Okay, tying it back. Spence's going to have a little sip of coffee. I'm very wired, but I'm getting to my bigger point. When that snow globe gets shaken, Santa and the snowman are glued to the bottom. The little house is glued to the bottom. Everything changes around, but they stay where they're at. Metaphorically, you can choose to be like Santa or the snowman or the house, and you can stay grounded. You can stay focused on the one thing that will never change: the human relationship with the people who need what you want. Now, as I went out on my beautiful walk this morning, Beth Oden and I had a wonderful conversation. That's something I've spoken about here many times, because Beth used to help me when, well, she's been a client and a student. She helped me when I was launching Launch Kit, and she's found an amazing niche with a group of clients from her particular interests and community, where she has found that teaching, as well as giving the software and doing the things, is more to her liking. But she doesn't teach in the traditional coursework way. She teaches in a way that's something I've done here, and I will continue to do. That's where I'm getting on. A hybrid of the relationship between live one-on-one and coursework, where she has a small group, like you could call it a workshop. They pay an ample amount of money. They get all of the things they need. But here's the takeaway. Like I've said so many times, and again, she was a student and a good friend and a colleague, one step ahead of them in things that they needed. Her specialty niche now is for the clients that do the WordPress stuff with her. She teaches them how to use the AI tools to make their content or to make their marketing. But the people she's teaching are salt of the earth customers. They run a resort in Mexico. They have a church group. They're a music thing. They do pottery. They are not people that are going to spend their days wandering around the flea market of WordPress or dealing with the politics of what Matt Mullenweg will or will not do, or that another big company like Awesomotive is trying to crush people's souls with their black hat tactics and dark patterns of getting you locked in. Instead, she focuses on the fact that the only thing these people care about is what I care about. There's a human being that is one step ahead of them, and in a knowledge of there are tons of these things in the air flying around the snow globe changing, they're grounded through that one person. And they can have a piece of that person in a way that delivers everything they need to get the solution of the day. So my metaphor is like the concierge, right? She's the concierge of these customers that are very low tech, who need what she can bring to them. But instead of asking Dr. Google, the liar, or going to the companies that are nameless, faceless, that they can't trust, guess what they do? They go to her. Just like you guys come to me. Just like I'm going to talk about the 2 columns of WordPress and what Spence is doing about it. I find myself in a unique juncture because you guys have been with me. I'm going to be coming up on a year since my back thing. And my back thing seems to coincide very well with all this other stuff, because I recognize that I had to go through a lot of drama, and still am on a daily basis, but that my time scale, my schedule was more like the frog in a pot of boiling water than the guy doing a cannonball dive into the regular pool. I didn't realize that this particular thing is going to take so long, because that's the way it went. But metaphorically, WordPress is sort of the same way. We've had these windows where things stayed the same for some years, and then they kind of went 2-3 years, but then this new thing happened very quickly. But in a way, it's really been boiling slowly over time. And that is this. The bigger companies want to turn the components of WordPress into their own private closed platform. That's just a fact. Automatic wants to do it. Awesomotive wants to do it. I'm naming companies you may or may not know. WP Engine wants to do it. Every single bigger company wants to make essentially a Netflix or a Disney or a Hulu, where they have the subscribers and that's it. I want to do that. But the difference between what I want to do and they want to do is that they don't have the mindset or the motivation. They are not set up for the very same simplicity that I'm describing, which is they don't care about the individual. They care about the larger volume and pleasing their shareholders. So in the WordPress space, there are now 2 columns. The software itself is amazing. I mean, I don't want to downplay how incredible it is to be in the space of WordPress, where when you combine the available outside things like AI to do copywriting or coding or make tchotchkes into the platform where you can plug stuff in, it's like the IKEA, my little IKEA furniture of the world. Like, I have this platform where half the world is using it and the other half is waiting for Spence in my mind. The difference, though, is what can I do differently than the bigger companies? What can I do that is not being done in WordPress now? And what can you do, just like Beth, to find your slice of happiness, your slice of lifestyle business, a very profitable one? Because let me underscore this. When it comes to making money, the formula, simple math, what you make minus what you spend is what you keep. If you can run a business that, let's say, has a very high profit margin, as is true in technology. I mean, I used to build houses for a living and it was profitable. Let me tell you, there's a lot of overhead, a lot of risk, a lot of carrying costs. Technology is zero. I'm here with my yoga pants on in my living room production studio. I'm going to go for a walk, ride a bike, take a nap, go to Costco. I'm going to do my life, and I'm able to make a lawyer's type of income without putting a suit on. I used to do that for a living. I used to have to put up millions of dollars under my own name in a loan to build houses and rental apartments. I don't do that anymore. You have to keep it simple, though, because the cost of going from a 1 or 2 or maybe very, very small group of people, but just say 1 or 2 person company, to something larger is you have to take on the financial cost and the time costs of all those people to do things for you. In the old days, that meant, and I've done this, I had a team of 20 something people when I had a partner through Dynas Scriveris. I had a team of 12 people when I ran One WDTV. All those people have to get paid first. I didn't pay insurance. They were all contractors, but you have taxes and withholding and complexity and politics and personalities. And oh my God, versus a solopreneur business. Simple. If you can find some formula that one person, you can leverage the tool set and the knowledge of being that point of contact and delivering something that doesn't take you hours and hours and hours a day, every day, making you crazy, and doesn't leave you susceptible to the forces of the snow globe of YouTube's, Google's, Netflix changing the algorithm and screwing you hard, like these poor people that were counting on SEO instead of relationship-based marketing. You can have a very nice lifestyle, very nice lifestyle. Money and time to take care of your family, your hospital bills, keep your sanity. And when you get to be my age, 57, I always talk to my friends, my relationships online. I say the final third of my hero's journey is going to rock, because I killed it in my 20s to my 30s. Then life kicked me in the cojones between my 30s to my 50s. From my 60s onwards, I'm going to win in a world where I'm curious about keeping all these options simple. All right. So hopefully I've given you some framework of context that the two columns of WordPress, there are those that are going to continue to make things harder and crazier. And there are those who will, I hope, like you, take my advice, follow my example, use me as a resource to cherry pick out the opportunities. And the opportunities are, the crazier it gets in the snow globe, the better it is for you to find a small group of people like yourself who are just one step behind, who need what you can teach them. It could be that you just show them, look, here's a simple website with 3 features on it. And I'm going to show you in this $199 webinar or workshop how to do copywriting with ChatGPT, or how to do a sales funnel with the Pufka launch kit, or it's how to actually put a website on that gets people to give you their email in exchange for something to have a phone call. Those are the things that, if you think about it, you can make it once, rinse and repeat 1,000 times, but not necessarily have to sell your soul. Don't necessarily have to use every single plugin in the refrigerator of launch kit. Don't have to worry about SEO. Don't have to worry about being delisted. And here's the best part. When you find human beings who are in your same position, who realize that you're really the most convenient option at the best price, and you deliver a value that I'll talk about in a second, it's like when you go to the barber. It's like when you go to your dentist. It's like if you get a manicure, pedicure. It's like when you go to your favorite diner, like on Seinfeld. Human beings are tribal, and they're lazy, and they like to get into habits and patterns, and they like to have a human being at the end of it. You know what I feel about Netflix? I feel they screwed everybody. They screwed that goodwill that when they started, they were the antithesis of Blockbuster. They were antithesis of Redbox. They were antithesis of all the pirating. It was like, genius. You guys are going to offer this great solution, Reed Hastings or whatever his first name is. But now it's just greed, 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 greed. And for what? For what? To please shareholders, to bump their price. They're not short on money. None of them are short on money. It's they can take advantage of the human beings, so they will. So how do the human beings fight back? By associating with other human beings. It's David and Goliath. All right. Here comes the fun part of Spence's wild ride, because how many minutes am I into this shindig here? I'm 25 minutes into this. All of you know that I have over the years created this launch kit. And the price point of launch kit has been really successful because it essentially delivers the kinds of things that I've been talking about, which is in an infinite world of choices, or world of infinite choices. I curate out just the things to be in the refrigerator. And I've been showing people and delivering a ready-made meal plan, even if it's for one or more things. And I've priced it that it's a value proposition on the 3 things everybody needs, right? They need the software. They need the personal support and knowledge of like how to make the meal with this stuff. And for some people, they've needed the hosting, and the hosting for me is a way to avoid you don't have the right pots and pans or the kitchen appliances we need. It's easier for me to just throw that in case we need it. People have been in really high numbers for what I've done, $0, signing up for mostly the $97. A decent amount of people from that have added their clients for $60 a month, hosted for convenience. And a good majority of the rest of the people have gone with the $47 software only, because they didn't necessarily need to talk to me or ask questions, which is part of the $97 differential. I've been doing one newsletter a week to mostly say there's an office hours or to show you something cool. But what I've been plotting in the background is two things. And this is where the minimalism comes in, because I'm inviting all of you who see this now or into the future to join me in just taking what I'm offering, stealing the ideas. You don't have to pay me a dime for this. This is just like my conversation with Beth this morning. In choosing which column you're going to be in, because what Spence is going to be doing starting May 20th, I have a very significant partnership with a company that has over 180 people and well-known in WordPress, along with the goodwill of all my other relationships. But this is like me going from Spence's world to it's on. I'm going to be disruptive in the WordPress space by becoming the voice, the advocate, the logical, legal, ethical, moral voice in a world of Netflixes and Prime Videos and Googles, of saying, very much like inspired by Jason Fried at Basecamp 37 Signals, we can choose a different path. And here's how it's going to go. Imagine a situation where all of the software, which is in WordPress, which is open source, is free. It's always been free. It's never changed, but most people are misunderstanding what WordPress and open source GPL is. So they get confused and lost by the misdeeds of these larger companies or by people who have been telling them false things, that somehow you're buying the software. You're not. In the same way that if somebody took a public grant for $1 million from the United States government to create something for the public good and then realized they could sell it for $1 trillion, they don't get to change the nature of what they're doing if they took the money. They made a deal that it's public. Anybody who makes WordPress software that runs on WordPress is writing GPL, GNU, open source software. The software is free, period, even if it's a pro version. What people have been buying is support and convenience. So, number one, the mechanics and the delivery of what I've been doing with LaunchKit is saying, I'm giving you all the curated ingredients in a refrigerator to make anything you want. Could be simple, could be complex for yourself or your clients. And these other companies are going off to try to do this Netflix thing. Like, I'm going to shut off all your TVs and steal your children. Literally, like some of the shenanigans I've been seeing, it's outrageous. So the second thing LaunchKit is going to be doing is publicly declaring and showing the alternative, the truth, which is these companies are telling you something that isn't true, and you don't have to do it that way. I have this like PBS, public broadcasting system. Here's all of the software, but not in a thumb in their eye way. I'm saying that the software is available when you have a relationship with me to do the support and the delivery and the education. And even if you don't pay me a dime, you can still have all of the free recipes and the ready-to-go solutions that the software would use for free. Like when you buy one of those sample razor blade things where the handle is there, you're paying for that with one blade and they know you're going to ultimately stick around. I believe people will realize that it's better to go with what I'm offering, because I'm also going to be backing up with the joining on this column with the rest of the companies that believe as I do, who make stuff for WordPress, which is the thing that balanced off the recording industry in the 80s was Napster. And the thing that balanced off the movie industry was all of those streaming, streaming movies.Russia and stuff. They finally got smart, and they really made it much better by making it legal for people to pay a reasonable amount for a relationship that made sense. And that continued until greed caught up again. Well, similarly in WordPress, imagine a world where all of the things that you need are curated out like LaunchKit does, backed by hundreds, if not thousands of contributing companies in a way that's priced reasonably for whatever level you need. Now, Chris, who I do a show with on Saturdays, we missed last week because we were both busy. We're talking about a thing called App Set, which is for Mac only. It's by MacPaw. It's essentially a curated type of a system, very similar in some ways, where there's hundreds and hundreds of really clever Mac apps that the developers are all individuals that realize, like David and Goliath, I can't fight against the big companies and their marketing budgets, and I'm just making one little cutesy tchotchke here. they've agreed for all their stuff to be in there, and they support it, and they take a share of the revenue. So imagine the same idea. You pay $9.95 or whatever I think Appset is a month, and you get access to hundreds and hundreds of apps, all legit, all managed, all supported in a universal way at a price that's a fraction of what it would be, because the promise is exactly what you get. Well, when you take WordPress software, if you know what you're doing, $47 a month for what's in LaunchKit is a steal, because it's $4,000 of value you're going to get for $497 a year. It's crazy. If you want the support and hands-on conversation, you can either pay for the 97, which gets email support from me about how it all, and the team to be, how it all works together, or you can do hands-on. Let's have a $300 call, but in that one call, the whole thing's set up. Or like Beth and I were talking about, a hybrid. What about a model where you get a few of the things that are in the kit, pay it once, but it's wrapped up into a live event for the final outcome? I need a simple website with a checkout funnel for 2 products that leads to a custom My Account dashboard so that I can use it for my customer who has rentals in Mexico. Done. You pay $199. You spend an hour in a group setting, learning the details, asking questions. You own it for life, and it's always updated because there's no support beyond that. But you paid once $199. So free newsletter, paid group of people, maybe $10 a month, $20 a month, where you can find other similar minded people who all use the same ingredients in the fridge. A one-time $199 thing that you teach that you're one step ahead. You can do a bundle of certain software and so forth that you yourself, like I am, support and offer, or you can go up the chain to hands-on stuff. Now, here's the minimalist part. I keep referring to what I do in LaunchKit. I keep referring to the fact that it's minimalist because every single day, I swear to God, there are 10 or 20 things that I go, oh, shiny ball, shiny ball, shiny ball, shiny ball, like shiny ball. If every time I saw that, I started thinking about that, I would never get anything done. So LaunchKit for me has been the way of saying, like one of those game shows, the cooking game shows. You're on the game show. Everybody has these 80 ingredients in the fridge. And Spence now, this is what I started this week, has recipe cards, not recipes, but recipe cards that have the 5 or 6 steps that refer to the ingredients and their own documentation, but say, you only have 5 steps between you and this souffle. There's 3 steps between you and this sales funnel. There's 4 steps between you and this email marketing thing, because you got the ingredients. You could have the support on top of it. You could have hands-on support, but even if you just want the ingredients, or you can even go down a step. You could be just, I got the free information in the office hours, or I got the newsletter and there's somebody in the group. You have this sliding scale. And so what's the continuity between all of this that applies to you? I am giving you top down for free the entire framework through any of those relationships, the software to use, the instructions on how to use it, so you can take that, like my IKEA thing, and decorate your business house. I'm giving you the framework instead of Netflix, where you sign up and I'm going to shut your TVs down. All of the code, all of the software, all of the logic, all of the politics, everything figured out, because I'm spending 24/7 in that world to make sure that the curated thing is concierge level. Spence has everything I need. And your business in WordPress is not going to be making pretty websites anymore. It's not. That's been dead since the page builders, and the AI is the final straw. Instead, your business is going to actually be having people ask you questions about how to do 1 or 2 simple outcomes that could be copywriting, could be something to do with making a pretty picture and putting in a website, could be with how to get an email, could be with how to sell a product. Those are 1, 2, 3 simple level outcomes, and you're going to charge accordingly, but you're not going to invent the mechanics. You're not going to go out and get into the politics of every day some joker is changing what's the core of WordPress, and you have to figure out why what worked yesterday doesn't work. I'm doing that for you. And the model that I have is what I like to call an MLM. It's the thing I do works equally well for you. Just change the topic, put your own name on it. I don't have a grandiose idea that I want to become in the politics of WordPress, but one of the consequences of making this partnership is that I feel it's very balancing and disruptive in that bring it home with that snow globe. When Santa and the snowman in the house are locked down and the snow falls, guess who's in the same spot? Those. Okay. I've been saying and doing the same thing since I've been 10 years old. I am not always right, but I know when I am factually correct. And if I'm not factually correct, I want to be corrected so I can fix my position. Because no matter how that snow globe gets shaken up, you can never, never, ever, never lose in a world where your business is anchored around human beings and delivering one or two or three simple things with a lesser cost. Now, I'll wrap that up by saying one other thing. I'm a big fan of something, a podcast called My First Million. And Sam Parr, this guy, Sean Puri, they talk about really amazing stuff. But they're in their 30s. I'm in my 50s. I was already a multimillionaire and I've been bankrupt. I am at a stage and a place in my life that I feel you have to choose for yourself. I had lots of the toys and I had the millions and I had complex things and I had obligations and all that stuff. And both of those guys will admit they spend 24/7 thinking about building, growing their business. But I'm at the stage where my kids are older. I'm thinking about selfishly the next 20 years, what I want to do. If that formula of what I make versus what it costs me equals what I keep, I would rather be in the simplistic, I have one little suitcase already packed with my toothbrush, everything I need, so I can go away on an airplane to an Airbnb anywhere in the world with my cell phone, laptop, I'm out of here, versus their kind of businesses, which like I got to notify 50 people and make arrangements and I'm constantly on the phone and solving problems. I'm not talking about any of that. You can build those businesses with someone else. I'm going to be focusing on WordPress, fair delivery. Here's the model. Here's the things you can use. You can sell. You can do less pieces, one person, simple, 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 minimal, minimal, minimal. Less parts means less problems. And in doing that, Ann and Chris, some of the other folks here who are commenting today, you realize like it's very, very liberating. Spence is going to be the person who's going to say, you don't need 5 things. You need one thing, like Marie Kondo. But when I do this in this larger scheme, what I hope is going to happen is I will have a greater influence in the WordPress community and in the other 50+% of people as well who don't care about WordPress. Like you go to buy that Mercedes and drive it home. You really don't care if Mercedes got the ball bearing and the wheels from this company or that, as long as they made a choice that it works and you can rely on Mercedes to support it. Well, that's what I'm doing for you guys. So you can focus on the business ideas. And by the way, many of you have had your success with this. So it's not a new idea, but in a world where the stuff is changing, and I'm telling you, WordPress is out of control with how much they're trying to change at the core every day. That is the best and simplest and most profitable idea I can use my talents, my focus on. And I think it's going to be more fun because to a certain degree, it really brings me full circle back to where I started, which was on that Ning platform way before Facebook and YouTube and WordPress existed. It was like this closed platform where they had no tchotchkes and me and another guy just started making fun stuff that were like one-off solutions. And everybody loved it because it was just that simple. Like, I'm going to learn one thing, get one thing from you, and I got instant satisfaction. And I think that's what most human beings really enjoy the most. That's why we still pay good money to go to the movie theaters. That's why we pay to have people make us lunch instead of doing it yourself. That's why you get $6 Starbucks coffees. That's why I pay a guy to cut my grass, get on my roof, climb a ladder, cut my hair. I hope this has been helpful. I am being coy about the partnership. Many of you can read between the lines, but you can look for the following things from me in the near future. Number 1. The new launch kit launcher is done. I'm going to brush it up. I've been feeling good for sitting and I've been going to town. So I have so many new things coming out. The launch kit launcher, amazing. You just log in with your WP Launchify credentials and you either get your software bundle delivered, you get your installer of packages, you get access to the other fun tchotchkes. So it's, hi, Stephen. Good morning. You get all these things from any website instantly. So the idea is instead of having to have me set up a site, if you sign up for the WP Launch Kit or the software bundle, you will be able to literally just download a plugin anywhere from a repository and boom, put in your credentials, everything set up, including some free value, which is part of the bargain. Number 2, Launch Flows 5.0 is going to be a subset of the things of Launch Flow's earlier versions. Not that the other features won't be there, but they'll be presented in this very simple. There's like 3 things that almost everybody wants out of it. And the rest is like, I couldn't be figuring it out. So Launch Flows 5.0. Number 3, I put the wrapper on. I'm debating whether to show this to you. Maybe I will show this to you. I'm going to give you a sneak peek. I had something I released as part of my sneak peek into Launch Flows 5.0 back in the winter, but then I didn't realize how long it was going to take the frog to boil with my back repair. So I'm going to give you a sneak peek. I've got something coming out that I had called Poofka. Poofka is an example of what I had talked about a moment ago, where you take a subset of the launch kit and it's one price and you keep it. But Poofka, I'm going to up the ante by including this new feature, which is the ability to use the custom components to customize the My Account dashboard, which means that you pay $199, not necessarily you, because you guys hopefully are on LaunchKit, but you can have your customers pay $199 and they get essentially like a custom Gumroad to sell anything with the very same components. But because you can also customize the layout of the dashboard, you can make it do the kind of things that you would probably spend hundreds or thousands of dollars on, and it's a one-time purchase. But because I'm going to wrap it up with a 1-hour training bundle, in other words, like show you and be in a live conversation, I feel like I'm going to get a much better response. So $199 will get you all the software for life. It will get you 1 hour of live training, and it'll get you these example patterns. So somebody who's an implementer, somebody who's an end user, it doesn't matter. It's like, I'll have the soup and sandwich with a cup of coffee, because that one-time purchase to me fits in really nicely between, you know, the paid newsletter and the software bundle, because it's going to give the outcome plus the fraction of Spence's personal support needed that I can scale it. I can have 1 person or 100 people equally served. I want to show you one of the examples of that, because let me see if I can pull this up. I don't want to make too much of this, but I'm excited to give you guys a sneak peek. Let's see if I'm logged in on this and I can do it. Hold on. I didn't plan on doing any sneaky peeky things, but I'm thinking this is going to be pretty cool. Hold on. Let's see if this will work. I'm going to put it into here. Let's see. And this is, yeah, okay. I gotta look at some windows so I can see where I'm at. Okay. I'm going to share a different window. Hang in there, kids. I'm just going to share this whole window. I think this is it. Yeah. Okay. So just to put this in context, you guys already know what Launch Flows does and sales funnels and launch kit. But what I want to show you here, because I got to rearrange this a little bit, is this is an example of the My Account area of WooCommerce. And I've shown in the past using the pattern library and otherwise. Let me see if this stays consistent. If you go to patterns.launchflows, I've demonstrated how, doesn't it seem sort of ridiculous that you have to go to all the trouble of using a plugin like Yith or something else to customize the My Account area? Because one of the things that I've shown everybody is when you have a new customer who comes in, really what you want to do is give them a custom billboard. You want to give them what they want to see. And I showed an example of things like this where, you know, you can make something really super cool using your page builder, but the images aren't loading here. But the idea is, what if I could combine the two things together? So essentially what I've been able to do here and what I'm showing you is, imagine if all the WooCommerce My Account stuff was simple short codes, and you can use any of the building components that you've already got, like Cadence or Gutenberg blocks and so forth, and put the layout anywhere you want. In this case, I just happen to use the tabbed feature of Cadence to make almost a model of the normal WooCommerce My Account page. But because I can customize it, anything, anywhere I want to do this is possible. So let me give you a quick example. Let's say, for example, in the I don't want the my downloads to say my downloads. Obviously, I could say, just downloads. If I want to change something in that tab, I could just add stuff inside of that same area, but it's all being done at the page builder level, right? I don't have to use some special extra tool. So it makes it super ridiculously easy. Plus, as you can kind of extrapolate, I hope, let's see if I got a media library image. Plus, I can use the copy and paste patterns. So in other words, like I've been showing you here before with launch flows patterns, I could just pick any of these things that might be cool made from the same components and give it to anybody else to use, my clients, myself. So maybe I don't want a tab dashboard. Maybe I want to make it a bunch of squares or blocks, or maybe I want to go ahead and have something with sliders. Anything I do now is, let's refresh the page, is drag and drop simple because I just use the page builder now. Everything from the my account, like built into the template, needing a really complex, expensive plugin. Like, for example, I'm not downplaying them, but like their plugin alone is $69 a year. And all it does is modifies the output. But you basically have to go through this, I'll call it painful experience of using their interface. Like, I don't know if you've ever used this before. I don't even know if I have the plugin in here, but the Yith plugin like requires you to go into the dashboard, drag stuff around, whatever. Whereas this solution, if given as part of the other package of stuff in a 1 hour thing, you could make a product that has a sales funnel that goes to custom checkout page with launch flows and a my account dashboard that can be customized to deliver right here exactly what you want people to see. And for $199, all the software plus an hour of training that you can white label use for unlimited clients. What a bargain. Okay. That was a quick sneak peek. These are ideas that you're going to hear more from me about, and that I'm going to also be, I think, to a certain degree, trying to make as part of a daily stream of content. Daily recipes, 2-minute videos, 3 steps or less, right? I'll show that here in case that wasn't clear also. So for example, at WP Launch Kit, I did one yesterday. I did it on video. I did it for pop-up, right? So how to make a site entry pop-up gate. So it's just a 2-minute video. What's the use case? Here's the ingredients from the refrigerator of the kit. And here's the 4 steps. Now notice that I refer to the original plugins documentation, because why should I be repeating that in a world of infinite information, right? Like, you don't need me to repeat that or spend all of my time trying to repeat that. But this makes it really super easy for me to deliver more value on a regular basis. And if you have that stuff already, great, make the recipe. If you want to get a one-time kit plus support, $199, and then go sell it to your customers. You want to get the software bundle for any of the recipes? Great. If you want the software bundle plus Spence email and sandbox site, great, $97. You want hands-on help? Great, $300 an hour, $2,500, $5,000. From zero to hero, everybody using the same ingredients on the same game show, and Spence in the politics with 180 other people behind me, plus all of the other developers saying, we're not going to screw you over. You own the software. You control it. This is all public good. We are offering you support for the whole concept, not just our own little thing. We are offering you convenience. We are offering you a relationship. Those other companies are trying to lock you into something that you really weren't supposed to be paying for. The promise of Netflix, Disney, and so forth was no more ads, one relationship, I watch everything. So I've said enough. It's great to see you guys. Hope you have a great weekend. Thanks for attending and your comments. I look forward to releasing more and seeing you in the next video. Till then, ciao.